right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this training. My name is Virginie, and I am very excited to be with you today to share with you the 7 skills that you will need in order for you to go to amateur to a professional. So, first of all, I want to get started with the proper mindset. A lot of people will come into this business and they will think that it's all about luck, finding the right person or and then they don't need to work anymore. It's not a lottery ticket mindset. Professional understand that it's only about you developing a few key skills that will actually going to teach you today in order to make sure that you can go get the goals that you want from this business. All right. So, let's get started. And by the way, I have been doing this business for 7 years. I want to mention one thing. I know pretty much every leaders that are to the top, the RVPs and the SVPs, I know them very well, and I can tell you one thing. There's one thing that they have in common, and it's not that they have something special. It's that they all had that desire to become a better version of themselves, and they have worked on it for the last 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years. There's people that have been with us with this business for over 20 years. Can you imagine? And they all got started from the beginning, just like me and you. They had no skills, but they kept working on it. And that's how they became very successful. So, first and foremost, the first skill that we're going to work on, it's any leader knows, any leaders or business owners, they know that nothing has to do with luck, but more about the contacts. Contacts will always get you um an edge over anybody. And that's even like if you're applying to a salary corporate job. If you do have contacts in this business, you have an edge over anybody else because you know someone that works there, right? It's your contacts will help you or not. So, how to generate contacts, right? This is a network business. It's about building distribution. And I love to give this example about McDonald's, right? The only reason why McDonald's is having the success that they have and they're selling so many burgers, it's because they have focus on building a network of distribution. There's over close to 40,000 McDonald's restaurant on the entire planet. So keep that in mind that if you want to achieve financial freedom, it's about how many distributors, how much your network of distributors will be big. That's how you're going to achieve that financial freedom, right? So you got to become really good at generating these contacts. So amateurs, what they're going to do, they're going to get started with this business. They're going to talk to a few people. They're going to invite them to what we call a PBZ, which is a private business Zoom. And then they're going to be done. They're going to stop there. Well, this is a very, very big mistake because if you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, well, you do agree that you know at least a few hundreds people, right? So why would you stop at 10? And the goal here is not to convince people to get started with this business. It's just to go through the numbers. It's a numbers game. And professional understand that. It's not going to be for everybody. But if you never ask the question, how do you know if it's for them or not? Right? All right. So professionals, what they're going to do, they're going to get started. They're going to do at least 2 private Zooms to get started as a launch of their business. But then every week, they're going to keep adding contacts to their list, and they're going to keep inviting people to the Zooms. So turns out you got started and you're very lucky. We have Zooms every week. So professionals, what they're going to do, they're going to go out and they're going to at least get two new names to their list, and they're going to invite them to the every day, and they're going to invite them to the weekly Zooms. And I want to push you, and I want to stretch you a little bit more. So some people, they want to do like a part-time income. If you really want to make a full-time income in this business, you're going to have to invite way more people than that, right? You can just leave it at that. Cuz what professional understands is, the statistics here is on 10 people, one, about one. And if you really, really get good at it in the future, maybe two will join. That's a statistic. Even the best networker in the world might have on 10 contacts, they might have three to join. And if I really, really push it, four to join out of 10. So, you know what? Here is just to understand that it is a game, a numbers game. And you got to understand that if we're going to meet 10 people, well, about one will join. But saying that, statistics will always be confirmed in percentages. Percent. So on percent, if you only talk to 10 people and then you stop there, have you confirmed the percentage? No. It's not until you reach those 100 people, then you can confirm that, oh, 10% out of those 100 have joined my business. But if you only talk to a few people, those numbers will never be confirmed. And that's a law. That's a general universal law. All right. So you're gonna find in the link tree, just ask the person that got you started. Well, maybe you have seen this videos and you're seeing it from the link tree. You're gonna see in the link tree there's also a link to a Google document with a memory jogger and a hundreds names list. So you're gonna get started with that. You're going to go through the memory jogger. You're going to write everybody. You're not going to prejudge anybody. You're going to put everyone on that list. But a professional networker will always keep updating this list. All right. I want to just mention this fantastic book. If you haven't read it, or you have, but you have not started to apply what's in it, it's a good sign that you should read it again, or you should just read it completely. This book has changed my life. It's called How to Make Friends and Influence People. And it's so funny because at the beginning, when I got started with this business, my mentor has um, told me, you really need to read this book. And I was always laughing because I was like, oh my God, I'm so social. I don't need to read a book on how to make friends. I have tons of friends. Well, guess what? There was so many gold nuggets in this book and concept that I was never aware that even me as a social butterfly extrovert, that was fantastic content. So extroverts in there, please, anybody, you have to read this book and start applying those concepts. It's a short book, and I swear to God, it will change a lot of things in your business. So that's for number one, how to generate contacts. So, for an example, how are you going to generate contacts? Well, first of all, anywhere you go. So, a professional will go to a store, interact with someone, they have a great attitude, and they'll be like, hey, you know what? I love your attitude. You have such a great personality, such a great energy. Let me ask you just this question. Are you open to make money outside of what you're doing? Are you open to more outside of what you're doing in your life? And that's how you're going to keep asking the question. You're going to keep generating those contacts. And from that, generally speaking, people receiving that compliment will be actually open and be like, hey, you know what? Yes, absolutely. And then that's when I'll just tell them, well, perfect. Let me grab your phone number. Here is not really a right time and moment. And let me call you this week. And we'll go over it, right? So that's just as simple as that. And the best trick for that, how to generate those contacts, is really, first of all, create good eye contact, give them a compliment, but also your attitude and your mindset inside of you, the posture that you have. You have something phenomenal to offer to them, whether it's a waiter, whether it's somebody working at a gas station, whether it's the guy at Tim Hortons when you pick up your coffee that is just like chirpy and great, has a great energy. Well, if you noticed it, a lot of regular amateurs people will just go and think about it and be like, oh, this person was so great. And then they'll move on with their way. You never know if this person could be your next RVP until you ask the question. So are you just going to walk on them? Well, the thing is, if you don't ask the question with these time of days and this the economy that we're in, and the explosion that this business has been getting lately, well, someone else will ask the question and you didn't. So, and keep in mind that the more you do this, the more you'll get comfortable. At first, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the more it's going to become second nature. And you'll be so good at doing it. You could do it eyes closed. You're not even going to realize that you're doing it. And that's how you're going to become a fantastic, great networker. That's the first skills. All right, so let's move to the second skills. So once you get good at generating contacts, what are you going to do with those contacts? Of course, you're going to invite them, right? You're going to invite them to a presentation. So, amateurs, one of the trickiest thing is they will make people run away. Why? Because they're going to talk to them, they're going to like literally vomit the information. Please, 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 come, come, come. Oh, you got to, oh my god, you got to see this. They're going to be in such a want and need mindset that it's going to make people run away. Here's the difference with a professional. A professional will attract people. They're going to be like, well, you know what? I don't know if this is for you. I might. It like I've seen something incredible. No clue if it's for you. It could be good for you, but I don't know for sure. So, do you have about a 20-minute to go over the information? And if you're not comfortable into presenting the business yet, that's when you're going to edify your upline. I've met with this guy. He's phenomenal. He had tons of success in business, and he agreed to give us a little bit of time in his busy schedule this week, this time, this hour. Are you able to make it? I actually talked with him and I gave him a few, if it's a friend of yours and you know them, I told him a little bit about you and he agreed to give us a little bit of time. So, can you make it to this Zoom? Like I'm really excited to be able to work with this person, and trust me, you're going to love him. Again, I don't know if this is something for you, but I think that it's really worth the 20 minutes of your time to just come and get the information. So, you're more like in you're not like trying to catch the little mouse. You're not in a hunting mindset. You're more on the lay low end, like, hey, you know what? It might be for you, might not. I don't know. I know for sure for me, I'm really excited about this project. It's going to be great. And trust me, you won't waste your time just even spending a few minutes with this person. He had tremendous success. You're going to get something out of it anyway, even if it's for you or not. So having that mindset where you're not trying to get this person absolutely as a desperate person, I believe that's also like where your posture will really make a difference between attracting people and making them run away, right? So that is one of the great skills. By the way, we do have an entire capsule about invitation. We're explaining you the different kind of markets, cold market, warm market, and lukewarm market. So we really go into more depth about invitations. So I really suggest you go over that. But along it goes along those ways, right? So invitations, the more you do, again, the better you'll become, the more comfortable you'll be. So it's really about understanding what we have to offer and that you're actually doing them a favor rather than you demanding a favor from them. It's a complete mindset. And when you shift that, trust me, it will make a huge difference in your business. Right. So those are the invitations. Let's move on to the next part. All right. Presenting. So, not everybody will be ready to present. Of course, if you're just brand new and you just got started, again, like I said in the invitation process, you're going to defy your upline, and your upline will be the one presenting for you. But at some point, you're going to want to move on to a little further, right? And you want to become independent. That's when really it starts to click. That's where you're really in control of your business. You're not waiting or depending on someone actually being available to do a presentation. And when you get to that part, and trust me, I think as soon as you get to ETL and you already like have a few people in your team, you should really start practicing the presentation, the business opportunity. It's really simple. You should never complicate it. And you know what? There's one thing that you have to keep in mind. Don't pretend you're an expert. It's not because you're presenting that you're suddenly an expert, because you're brand new. And having that conversation with them saying, hey, by the way, I'm really not an expert. I'm really not good about it, but I'll give you brief lines of the concept. I know you'll understand. And if it is something that you like and you want more information, I'll talk to my coach, and this guy is like he's the elite of the company. And I'll make sure he can make a little bit of time with us to go over extra details. And if you like it and you want to join, great. If not, great, right? So again, anything to lead your prospect to be talking to your expert. So some amateurs will just, like I said, the amateur will wait, they will find excuses. They invite, oh, the person is not coming, or well, there's no meetings that day or whatever, right? But you're a professional. So because you're a professional, those are things that you will do. You're going to throw yourself out. You're going to get outside of your comfort zone, right? This was not like this was not like I'm really comfortable and that's how I became successful in business. It's never about that. If you look at anybody that has become greatly successful at anything, any industry, it's it was always outside of their comfort zone. Always. All right. So present the opportunity again. You're going to want to go over the presentation, PowerPoint. You're going to want to listen when you hear people, when there's PBZ for the team. You're going to want to take notes. And then you're going to start practicing because practice makes perfect. And you know what? The thing is, the amateur will avoid presenting. They're gonna dread it. They're gonna be so afraid of, oh, I'm gonna mess this up. They're gonna want to be perfect from the get go, which is not gonna be happening, obviously. Everybody sucks. Everyone that became good at this business, that became a good presenter, they just have presented more than you. Just like Michael Jordan. Why is he the best basketball player ever? Is because he kept throwing 10,000 baskets every day. That's why he can literally be backwards, eyes closed, flip it, and it still hits the ring, right? He just threw the ball more. That's it. So keep that mindset that practice will make perfect. And the more you practice, the more you throw yourself out, even if it's just like asking for a friend, hey, I really need to practice. Can I practice on you? it releases the stress, the the tension, and then the pressure, because they're just there to give you a few key pointers. Are you okay if I practice on you? I have about a 15-20 minute just to give you brief information, and then can you please give me your opinion on how I did? It's a good indirect approach to actually present a business. I've done that in the past and it worked very well. I've got people joining and I was just practicing on them. All right. So that is about presenting the opportunity and also understanding that you're not going to be perfect. But if you do practice yourself, don't go over too much details. Just read the PowerPoint and tell them from the get go, by the way, I'm far from good. I really suck. But at least you're going to get the gist of it. The goal is just for you to understand the concept, and then if you like it, then I'll put my mentor on the line and then you'll be able to ask them your questions. Right? How hard is that? Not really. All right. So, that's for the opportunity. And you know what? If you want to become RC or you want to become RD and you want to become RVP, it is only about how many people are being shown the opportunity, right? When you just get started and there's 10 people in your team and you have to do all the presentation or anything, but imagine if in your team there's 10 other people that are at this point where they are able to present. Understand it's no longer about you. Then if there's 10 people that are able to present and there's like, I don't know, even if they were doing one presentation a day, it's 10 presentations a day that's happening without you. How fantastic is that? That means, and let's go back to that statistic, 10 people, one will get started. 10 presentation a day is one new IBO a day. One IBO a day, it's 30s in a month. If you're RC, look at your compensation plan. You'll be very, very happy. But you know what? Amateurs make excuses. Professional, get it done. If you're part time with this business, well, you got to at least present or expose people like at least 5 to 10 a week. If you're full time with this business, you're an RD, has to be 5 to 10 a day, right? To get you to the other side, get you to RVP. All right. Now, the follow ups. And we've noticed that with the follow ups, it is something where people fall short. No wonder that a lot of people will say network marketing follow up is in the fortune. So a lot of amateur people will manage to have people on presentation and they'll be waiting for the person to call them. Oh, he said he was going to call me. Oh, and then they do nothing about it. But that's the amateur way. Don't be an amateur. Don't do that because people won't call you. That's the truth. That doesn't mean that they're not interested, but you just let it go. It's like you're holding those grains of sand and your hands are like this. You're just letting it go. All right. So don't expect calls from your prospect. Just tell them, by the way, get on the Zoom. They're doing the whole invitation process and meanwhile confirming their presence or confirming that they're coming. Hey, by the way, I'll get back on a call right after the presentation is done just to go over your questions and go over a few details if there's anything, right? And then if you do like what you're seeing, then we can explain you what's the next steps so that they expect your call, right? So the professionals, what are they going to do? They're going to pick up the call. They're going to pick up the phone. They're going to call their prospects after the Zooms. And, for an example, I was the type of person, I saw the business and then I got started right away, right? It's not going to happen with everybody. 90% of the people, they're going to need about 4 to 6 exposures. When we say exposures, that doesn't mean presentations necessarily, but exposures. So I'll give you a few examples. What are exposures? So first of all, you're going to invite them. They're going to show up to the presentation. Presentation is exposure number one. Second of all, you're going to follow up with a call, right? You're going to talk with them. They're going to ask you a few questions, and then you're going to be like edifying your expert. So your expert will call them, or you'll put them on a 3-way call, and then the expert will go over a few things. That's another exposure with your leader. And then you're going to invite them maybe to if you did the presentation by yourself and it was just a quick one, and then you can say, well, come tonight because this leader is doing the presentation. You're going to see the team, you're going to see the system, you're going to see the structure, you're going to see like who you're going to work with, and it's going to go over more details than what you just saw, right? So that's BOM, business opportunity meeting, or call it the team PBZ, right? Team Zoom, right? So that's another exposures. And then you're gonna invite them to the Saturday training. If they liked it, if they didn't like it, of course you just tell them, you know what, thank you so much, thank you for your time, etc. And by the way, when the person actually shows up, it's important to thank them for their presence. Well, thank you for being there on time, but I want to congratulate you for taking those 20 minutes for you, right? Not everybody will do that. And that will really solidify, because again, you're not on a desperate mindset, you're on a mindset that you have something great to offer. Right, Saturday training, very important to promote to everybody that sees the presentation, because most of the people that get started, it's because they saw the presentation and then they came to a Saturday training and then they decided to get started. That's what sealed the deal, right? Of course, Saturday trainings are every Saturday, so don't wait. If you present on Monday, don't wait for Saturday. Make sure you plug in a few exposures before that Saturday. So you're going to want to expose them until they get started. After that, I could add up some conventions, some regional events, some larger event until they sign up. You're going to want to follow up and understand that with people, maybe they're not sure, maybe they're hesitating, maybe there could be tons of reason, and they might not want to share that with you. But you got to understand that most of the people, it's all about timing. In my life, I was exposed to this business at least 5 times by different people, and I didn't even know that's what they wanted me. And then I just clicked at some point. I'm like, hey, I've seen this video. Oh, I've seen this before, or whatever. And I even invited somebody to come and see the business. And he's like, you gotta be kidding me. That's what I was trying to, for you to get started 2 years ago. But at that time, it was a very bad timing for me. I was not open. I was a complete brown apple. So I never got to the information. And see, 2 years later, I was absolutely open. It was not about him. By the way, when people tell you no, don't take it personally. It's really not about you. Could be just because of timing. Right. And also, yeah, that follow up will build trust between you and the structure, your prospect and you and the structure. They will understand that there is something bigger than them that will support them. The structure is there, and it will solidify that trust where they see that, hey, it's easy. There's steps that I can use. There's tools that I can use to help me build this business. I don't need to do that all alone by myself. So it will help greatly solidify that trust. All right. Skill number 5, the closing. So the closing, what is the amateur doing? Well, do you have any questions? And then the person will just say, no, all good. Thank you. Bye. Right? That's the amateur. Now, the professional will finish a presentation. And they will, first of all, ask permission. Do you give me permission to ask you just a few questions? And who's going to say no to that, honestly, right? So, well, question number one that everyone needs to ask after the presentation. You have to go through these questions. It's a recipe for success. If you don't do it, that's on you. Then, because you're ready to get started, yes or no? And then it stops there, right? So, but before you get there, if you really set the table properly, it's setting yourself up for success. So, first question on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being don't talk to me about it ever again, and 10 being I'm ready to get started right away. Where would you rank yourself? Mind you, if the person says 1 or 2 or whatever, like for real, the goal is not to convince them to get to a 10. Just welcome them for being there and just tell them, you know what? Perfect. I understand. It's probably not for you. Let's see if I can help you become a customer and help you get better value for what you have. Go full mode client with that. All right. So as long as somebody is 5, 6, or higher, that's where you're going to move to the next step. Perfect. Step in. What could take you to a 10? What do you need in order to get there? Then that's when you're going to start hearing those objections, right? Well, I don't know if I have enough time. Well, the money's a little bit tight, so I can't get started. Oh, well, I don't know if I would be good at this. Well, that's when we're going to teach you how to handle those objections, right? So, of course, when you want to continue on that, you're going to say, well, yeah, absolutely. I understand. You have to understand where they're coming from. Second, agree with them. I totally agree with you. When I saw this business, I had absolutely no time and my schedule was completely hectic. So I could not understand you better. Here, I thought that I needed way more time to get started and it was going to pile up on my schedule that was already busy. But then I realized that it's really not how we work here because we work it through the crack of the schedule, and because it's a network business, you work with people, you're meeting people throughout the day. So it's really not adding any time on your schedule because that's what I realized. No matter what, I'm still gonna go to Tim Hortons or I'm still gonna go to work. I'm still gonna go do everything that I'm doing. But meanwhile, 30 seconds asking, hey, how about, some of those questions that we ask, like, are you open to something? Hey, you're a good waiter. You were at the restaurant anyway, right? I really liked your attitude, this and that. Are you open to something outside of what you're doing? That. Do you agree? It took me like 30 seconds to say to that person. Did it add on my time? No, I was there anyway. So it's just to deconstruct those objections when they give it. Right. So that was a good example. Now you're going to ask them this question. Perfect. If you were to start with us, how much per month would you have to make to believe it was worth your time? It was worth your effort. Everyone has a little magical number in their mind. When they see this business, they're going to say, like, oh, you know what? When they realize what is residual income, they're gonna be like, "Oh, hey, if I could just make another extra $1,000 a month, an extra $2,000 a month, an extra whatever is their number, what would it take? How much would you need to make this valuable, worth it, your effort?" So just let them speak. They're gonna give you a number. You're gonna say, "Perfect. I was also in that ballpark." Or, "Oh, beautiful," if their numbers are super high. "Beautiful. My mentor was totally in that ballpark. He went full out." Or give an example of someone that got started and, oh, that's also what they want. Everything that they will answer to you is absolutely normal, right? And then number three, out of curiosity, how many hours would you be willing to put in order to earn this type of income? So let's say they tell you, I would like to make an extra $2,000. That would be great. Perfect. How many hours are you willing to put in every week in order to make $2,000 a month? So listen to what they're going to say. Some will say, I don't know, a month. Then you can actually tell them, well, in order for you to make $2,000 and work just a month to get there, we might need a little bit of time, depending on the time that you're willing to invest, right? But some people might tell you, hey, you know what? As long as I need, that's a very winning answer. Some people will say, well, mm, I don't know, maybe maybe a year. If I work part-time and it takes me a year, and then after that I always get that $2,000 coming in every single month. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what's going to lead you to the next part. How many months are you willing to commit? How many hours are you willing to commit a week? And for how many months are you willing to commit it? Well, yeah, I was a little ahead of myself, but here, in these numbers of hours to develop this kind of income, right? So some people might say 6 months. Some people might say a year. Some people might say as long as it takes. Again, another winning mentality, right? So, and then you're gonna finish with this. Well, what if I told you? Because again, you're not the expert, right? Not just yet. What if I told you that my leader can definitely show you how to do it? Would you be willing to just jump on a call with him or her and for about 10 minutes and they'll go over that plan? You're going to see they're really fun. They're really nice. Give a good compliment on that person. And then when you pick up the phone, "Hey Simon, how are you? Well, I have Sarah right here on the phone with us. She said that she's willing to work for 5 hours a week for about 9 months in order for her to get to $2,000 a month." So, and then it's going to give them a little ballpark and they'll be able to just, you're passing it to your mentor and they will be doing the closing for you. All right. Now, an efficient launch. Of course, that's like the next step, right? You've Now you know how to generate leads, generate contacts, and it's unlimited. People are everywhere. Now you know how to invite them. Now you know how to present. Then you also know how to do effective follow ups and closing. What are you going to do? The launch. All right. So amateurs will launch their IBOs. They'll make them bank and then they'll leave them to themselves. Or they'll stress them out to get qualified and then, okay, my work's done here. It's not about this. That's not what we do in this business. We're not in the business of people getting started and leaving them alone. We're a team, we're a family at Infinity Momentum, right? The thing is, you are responsible of giving them the structure, the support, the tools. There's stuff that you're not responsible of doing, obviously, right? Like learning, like committing, like doing in the work, but you have some responsibility with them. So here's what the professional will be doing for an efficient launch. Well, first of all, set up a 2-hour appointment. And that, it's not there on the PowerPoint, has to be done the minute you're signing them up, right? So before signing them up, they're agreed to get started. You're going to book an appointment and you're going to tell them, we're going to need about 2 hours for your launch, and we need to properly launch you. My goal is not to leave you alone and you go and do whatever and then you don't have success. I want to make sure to prevent you making mistakes, right? Then you're going to use the launching document that is in the link tree. You can go ahead and download that document. It's also in your back office, right? And then you're going to guide the IBO during the registration process. You're going to let them do it. You're going to share screen, do it on Zoom if you're not with them directly. And you're going to guide them through the registration process, because if you do it for them, they will forget about it. They will probably forget about it anyway. But if they've done it, chances are they will remember a little bit more than if you've done it for them, right? And you have to remember everything that you do is it's a training process. The way you invited them, the way you approached them, the way you invited them, the way you presented the business, the way you plug them in with your mentor, the way you followed up with them, the way you close them, and the way you're launching them. Everything is a training process. So remember that they will see how you've done it and they will repeat what you've done, because they think that that's how it's done. So do it properly, right? No cutting corners here, especially in that part, right? And then you're going to qualify them on the spot. You're going to say, okay, let's just get you qualified and get you promoted, right? So your goal is to make sure that you straight up figure out those services, that you can qualify them on a spot. And now with some bonuses, make sure that you know your bonuses that are in place, and make sure you either reach at least one bonus with them, or they're on the way to the next position, which is ETL, right? Set them up properly. Then you're going to talk with them. You're going to elaborate with their why. The why is really important, right? Because over the last 7 years, why am I still here? It's because the why of the people in my team became my why. I'm working with them towards their goals. It's no longer about me. Yeah, first check bonus, just mentioned it. And then you're going to practice the customer acquisition approach, and you're going to practice the IBO approach, which is the invitation, right? And you're going to mark down those first two PBZ. Why? Because when you invite people, you give them 2 time frames. Can you make it this date or that date? What's best for you? Instead of yes or no, can I come? It's just, again, it's the mindset, right? So you're going to book those 2 PBZ, and then you're going to practice with them. Practice. Not like, okay, let's go invite people, and then you disappear and you expect them to have like 40 people on their first Zooms. That's not how it works. If you don't put in the work, they won't do it. And they're new. They're afraid. They're nervous. So if you're not there to hold their hands, and you know what? That's on you. You spent that much time on them, and then you let them go, and you don't make sure that you solidify having at least 10 people on a Zoom with them for 2 Zooms, which is 20 people. Shame on you. This is amateur. Remember, you're a pro. Their contacts is now your contacts. It's how you're going to get to the next leader, the next RVP. It doesn't mean that the first person that you're going to launch will be your winning champion. It could be further down the line. So you owe it to them to do the work with them. Make sure, imagine, I like to give this idea of kind of like they're little babies. So you want to make sure they don't fall and scratch their heads, right? But in order, you gotta make sure that you teach them well. You gotta make sure that you practice with them, that you sit. I I remember how nervous I was before I did the invitations. For 2 weeks, I waited. I was so nervous to make a call and pick up the phone. And but the minute I made a call and I got somebody negative, my mentor was on the other side. He was like, hang up, hang up, hang up. And then I hung up, and then he started to laugh. And I was like, it's again, it's like the kid. If they fall, they scratch their knee, and you're laughing, they're gonna be like, oh, it's normal. But if you start panicking or you're not there, they will start panicking and cry, and then they will disappear out of your business, right? So you owe it to them to be there, hold their hands, laugh about it. You know what? Oh, you got it. You got it. Your first brown apple. Celebrate it. The thing is, you're going to build your business through the yeses, but you're going to build your character through the no. Manage their expectations. Let them know. Over 100 people, only 10 will join. So who cares the rest of the 90? Do you agree that some in the 90s will become your customers? Absolutely. They don't need to all say yes. So don't take it personally. It will release the stress on them. They will be way less nervous or feeling way less negative if someone says no to them, right? And then number 7, events. Promotion, promoting events. If there's one skill to become good at, like really, 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 really good at, like you could suck at all of them. But if you're good at promoting events, you could literally build a multi-million dollar business with this company. Just with that one. For real. The story of Matthew Ambrose is my biggest story because he's an SVP with the company. He's really part of the elite for so many years. We went to college together. I remember how very shy this guy was. Very, very shy. He always said, I'm never gonna do a presentation. I'm never gonna wear a suit. I'm never gonna hit this guy was probably the worst IBO ever, right? But Mathieu Lamontagne told him, just get good at inviting people to the events and promoting it and let the system work it for you. Because the event will do what one person cannot do. That feeling when you're sitting in an arena of 20,000 people during a national or international convention, that feeling you can't reproduce. Don't fool yourself. So, if you become really good at promoting the Zooms, the team PBZ, it's going to make your people invite people to those team PBZ. It's going to expose people to the business. It's going to grow your business. Then there's trainings. We got Tuesday trainings and we got Saturday trainings, right? So on the English structure, there's a business presentation every Tuesday, followed by a quick start training, and then there's the Saturday training. So if you get good at promoting these people to that structure and making sure they're there, somebody got started, well, you really have to put that in your schedule. You really have to be there. It's gonna help you understand the business. It's gonna help you grow your business, and you make it a point that they understand the importance of that. Then the structure, the event will do the work for you. I remember my first event when I went to an international convention. It was in San Jose, California, and I was there by myself. And I was like, mind blown. The effect that that had on me, it was crazy. Well, the next international event, which was 3 months later in Detroit, well, I promoted it big time. Well, guess how many we were? 20. Now we were sitting and we were 20 having that same feeling. getting the same information coming from the heart of the company, meaning the co-founders. That built the belief, that built the trust, that built the confidence, the posture. Imagine after that, if those 20 people invited 20 people to the next convention, what does that mean? Now it's no longer 20 people sitting in that area. 20 times 20, right? Now that's where it's getting interesting and where the exponential effect, the snowball effect can start growing. So you want to use to promote the events to your advantage. All right. So that was the 7 skills for you guys. Now again, practice will make perfect. What's going to define an amateur to a professional? The professional understand that they're not good, but they don't care. They're willing to put in the work. And the more work you put in, the more good you're going to get, the better you're going to get. The better you're going to get, the better results you're going to get. And that's going to build your confidence. And you see where I'm going? I love this quote. Don't be upset by the results. To be honest, if you didn't do the work, you can't be upset by the results that you didn't get. But you will never be upset that you still put in the work, no matter what the results you got, right? Because at some point, by you putting in the work, you're going to get good at it. And then you're going to get great. And then you're going to get excellent. The reason why, for example, Matthew and Matthew or Jonathan or all those RVPs and SVPs, the reason why when we hear them talk and they do a presentation or whatever, and we're like, oh, they're so good. They've put in the work more than me, more than you. They've been around for 20 years. They just have put in more work than you. And that's what you're seeing. That's the result you're seeing. So you owe it to yourself to become a professional. You owe it to yourself to put in the work and put in the action. And I want to hear from you. I want to see you crushing those goals. All right. You have a good day. It was a pleasure to be with you again. And we'll see you on another capsule.